Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can make your sprint review presentation in English. So for this video, I'm going to make it entirely in English and I want you to pay close attention to all the words that I'm going to use. There'll be so many words, so many situations that you got to be prepared for. So let's dive in. Those are the 5 steps that I'm going to walk you through. Okay, there's the Scrum Master when he hands over the presentation to you. Then you're supposed to start with the greetings, where you briefly describe the sprint features. Then we start explaining the features. Then you go the challenge and roadblocks to talk a little bit about that. And then you reach to the end. There are a couple of words that I want you to learn that's going to make you more comfortable and asking people and thanking people, something like that. Okay, let's go now for the number 1. So here, why I decided to tell you about the Scrum Master, because he's the guy who always starts the ceremony, right? Scrum Master is the one who's responsible for all the ceremonies. Then he start telling about the ceremonies, all the challenges, and he present a lot of information to the managers and the people in the team. So that's why I wrote over here, Scrum Master starts the ceremony making a brief introduction about the sprint review, eventually showing some charts, Jira, dashboards with tasks and due assignments. So as I said, when the sprint review ceremony starts, the meeting itself starts, it starts with the Scrum Master himself. He's going to tell you he's going to tell the whole board, CEO, managers, and team leaders, and everyone else. And he's going to make a brief introduction. We're going to start the ceremony, make a brief introduction about the sprint review. So as he finishes this, he's going to hand over the, the, the meeting to you as a software developer. That's when you start to do this. So the Scrum Master hands the presentation to you. So just like I was saying, Scrum Master starts the ceremony making a brief introduction about the sprint review, eventually some charts, Jira dashboards, desk and do assignees. So the first word that I want you to learn is this assignees. If you have used Jira dashboards, I'm sure that you know how to use that word. That assignee is the person who is responsible for all the tasks. So if the Scrum Master or my manager tells me to do something and he creates a task in Jira dashboard, then he can assign that task to me. So when he assigns the task to me, that means that I'm the assignee of the task, which means that I'm the responsible for that task. That means that I'm the one who's gonna make the test. I'm gonna to make development of all the information that's included in that test. So when he hands over a presentation to you, when handling over a presentation, just like I wrote over here, just from master can say something like, now I'll hand over the situation to Mauricio, which is me, who will explain the feature. So every time that the Scrum Master is gonna hand over presentation to someone, you eventually say the name of the person. So in my case, my name is Mauricio, and then it's gonna hand over this expression over here, handing over. It means that it's gonna deliver the presentation. It's gonna give me the opportunity to make my presentation. As Scrum Master was talking about the ceremony, when he started to tell people about the ceremony, then as he finishes talking about the ceremony, about the beginning of the presentation, he's gonna say, okay, I'll hand over the presentation to Mauricio. I'm handing over the presentation to John and whatever the person who is responsible to take control of the presentation. So there are some words that you have to learn. like this handover. So when you hear this expression handover, it means that someone is gonna take control of the presentation, is gonna take control of something, okay? It's for you to be aware of that. So let's go now for the previous. So as the Scrum Master hands over the presentation to you, then you are now responsible to tell people in the team, to whoever is watching you in the in this meeting, that you're gonna start by thanking everyone. You're gonna start by telling everyone those greetings that usually when we start a meeting, we say hello everyone, hello John, hello, you know, whatever who is present. In this case, I'm telling you some examples that you can say. So thank you, John. Then in this case, John, it was the name of the Scrum Master. So you can say thank you, John. And then after you thank John, you thank you, Scrum Master, you go on and say, come on, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It depends on the period of the day that the sprint review meeting is taking place. If it's in the morning, you say good morning, everyone. If it's in the afternoon, you say good afternoon, everyone. I think it's clear that. So there are some of the expressions that you salute people. So thanks for joining today's sprint review. So the first one, as you can see over here, then you say, thank you, John. As the Scrum Master hands the situation to you and say, thank you, John. Thank you, the name of the Scrum Master. And then say, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. And I say, thanks for joining today's sprint review, which means exactly what you were reading. You want to thank you for everyone who was present in the meeting that you're going to make a presentation about the sprint review. So you can go on and say, I'm here to walk you through the features completed this sprint, which basically means that you're gonna present each and every aspect of the meeting, each one of the steps, and you're gonna make a presentation to people about that. That's basically what I'm saying here. Then we can start by saying this. And this sprint, we focused on what does this mean? We focus. It means that the focus, the main things that are gonna be happening is that you're gonna talk about some specifics topics, which is the all the features that you have implemented during this sprint. So that's why you can start like, and this sprint we focused on. Then you mention your sprint goals, right? Everyone has their sprint goals. Then you go on and tell what your sprint goals were. So I'm giving a little example over here. So creating new screen for input of people's profile. So going back, let's suppose that you're gonna tell that your sprint goals, one of them is to create a new screen for the input of people's profiles. And we can say, in this sprint, we focused on creating new screen for the input of people's profiles. That's a good example. You can get another example according to your development tasks. You can use this example right over here. So let's move on. Then it gets to the point when you have to explain the features. So I'm wrote some words of some expressions here that you can use. For example, let's take a look at the first feature, which is, so when you start talking about the features that you've implemented, you can say this sentence over here. So let's take a look at the first feature. For example, if there's like 5 features that you're gonna be presenting, you can say that let's take a look at the first feature. Let's take a look at the second feature, at the third, at the fourth, and so on. In order for you to not use repetitive words, repetitive expressions. You can say like, for the first one, it's all right for you to say, let's take a look at the first feature, which is, then you mention the feature name, like, for example, you're working with the database. Let's suppose that you implemented a POL SQL in the database. So you would say, let's take a look at the first feature, which is the implementation of a POL SQL for the input of information in people's profile. That'll be a good example for that. But let's suppose now that you're gonna present the second feature. So it's another, there's another way for you to say that let's take a look at the first feature. You're not supposed to say, let's take a look at the second feature. Let's take a look. So it's going to be so repetitive that can make people now tired of listening. Well, you can use that, but I would say that you can say, for the second feature, we have this. It's a different way to say it. So you can say, for the second feature, we have this. And then for the next feature, we have that one. So this feature allows users to, and that's another way to sell it, to say it. And then you can say, you can explain the functionality. And this one is another way to say, we implemented this feature by, and briefly explain the technical details. That's when we can use all the technical details of kinds, for example, of technology, of the database versions, and whatever you've been used to implement that functionality. And there will be some times when the feature is still in development. So you can also use this one over here. This feature is still under development, but we've completed. And then I mentioned progress. Like, for example, you completed 50%. You're in the middle of the development. So you can say this feature is still under development, but we've completed like 50% of the whole process. That, you mentioned the progress, just like I told you. And when you have a demonstration like of the software, it's like prototype, then you can say, here's a quick demo to show it in action. Then you can show your a little piece of software. Sometimes companies have some process that requires you to show you a small prototype. I've been in projects like this, but the company I work now, they just don't require us to show this. Okay, so let's move on. So it's still in explaining the features, there will be times when you are interrupted. Like, for example, if you're explaining all the features and all of a sudden someone comes in, it can be the Scrum Master or your manager, or I don't know, whoever comes to interrupt you, then you have to stop your presentation. So how are you gonna respond to that? There are some words, useful expressions that you can say in the middle of the presentation when you have to stop it. If someone comes to you and say, "Hey, okay," in my case, Mauricio, would you excuse us a second? I need to talk to my manager a little bit. Can you stop the presentation a little bit? You say, "Oh, okay, that's okay." Back to you, John. As you are talking to someone and you need to go back to the person that you were talking before, you can say, back to you, John. You're gonna hear that expression a lot in sprint reviews, presentations, and some other meetings. So that's that some useful expressions that you can use. Back to you, and you say the name of the person. Okay, back to you, John. Back to you, Mauricio. Back to you, Maria, and whoever is responsible for that presentation on that moment. So let's move now to the next topic, which is the challenges and roadblocks. So eventually you have to say in the process, that all the challenges that you faced during the process of development, which are also called the roadblocks. That's the road which is blocked. This expression here, roadblock, is in, you can see there's a road and there's a block. So that there's a road and something is blocking the flow of the information, of whatever was supposed to go on, but it can't go on because it's blocked. So this roadblock means that something that it's an impediment. Okay, so you can say something like this. I select this words over here. We encountered a challenge with, then you can say, that's why I wrote it here, explain issue. You can say we encountered a challenge when when we were developing a screen to another module. Yeah, it's up to you to tell what you can use here. So for example, I'm giving you a little example over here. So after system stays idle for some time, it seems like it freezes for a couple of seconds, trying to get out of the idle state. So we've implemented a workaround for now, but for the next version, we'll come up with a better solution. That's an example of a challenge and a roadblock, but that was immediately solved because in this case is the the software developer or the team implemented a workaround. What is a workaround? A workaround, it's something that is not supposed to be permanent. Okay, it's a workaround. It's an expression in English that you use to resolve something temporarily. So when you do something like this, your team or even yourself and all the others are trying to make a complete, a more elaborate solution for the problem that is going on. So you implement a workaround that is gonna solve your problem for a period of time, but you are also working on a good solution, a better solution for that problem. That's what we call a workaround in English, okay? And then moving on, then you get to the end. So when you get to the end, there's also some things that you were about to say, then you think your team, you think your manager, you think everyone else. But when you're ending your presentation, when you want to tell people that there's nothing else that you have to present, then you can say, so that's pretty much it. So at the end of the presentation, when you finish the presentation, you say, so that's pretty much it. That covers the main features completed this sprint. And then you go on to say, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. We're looking forward to see your feedback on these features. Then you, just like I said, you say, that's pretty much it. That means that you have nothing else to present. And you go on to say that covers the main features completed the sprint. That covers the main features, which means that all the features that you were supposed to present, you covered all the information that was required for that test, for the implementation to be developed. So you got it already, got all covered. So we use these words over here, covers the main features completed this sprint, which is the current sprint that you are ending now. And there are some bonus expressions like you can say, thank you everyone. This sprint went smoothly and you were able to deliver everything in the sprint backlog. And back to you, John. Remember the word I told you some time ago? Back to you, John. Then you handing over your presentation to John, who is the Scrum Master. In this case, I just give you that example that the Scrum Master's name was John. And that's pretty much it. You see, I just told you the same word that I wrote over here. So that's pretty much it. You can finish every situation, and when you are finishing a meeting, when you finish talking about any subject on your company, whatever situation you may be in, you can end the meeting, the dialogue, with that, with those words over here. So that's pretty much it. Just like I said, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm gonna talk now em português, ok? Pessoal, olha só, então esse é o vídeo aí que eu fiz aí, né, de uma simulação aí, de uma apresentação aí da Sprint Review, né? Lógico, para você chegar aí no nível de não gaguejar, de não ficar nervoso, né? É muito treino. Não pense que isso aqui foi da noite para o dia, o meu inglês. Eu tive dificuldades com várias pessoas, né? Lógico, eu tive a oportunidade de morar fora, ajudou? Ajudou. Mas eu tenho exemplos clássicos aí de amigos que moraram fora e não falam inglês, né? Entendem muito, o listening ali está 100%, né? Mas mesmo falando fora, né? Porque procurava aí se juntar com pessoas aí brasileiras e tal. E quando você está focado aí no inglês, você tem que meter a cara e falar mais com nativos da língua, né? Aprender o que eles têm que aprender, né? Aprender o que você tem que aprender, né? Beleza, gente? Então compartilha esse vídeo aí com aquele seu amigo desenvolvedor que está precisando melhorar o inglês aí, estou fazendo aí vídeos aí quase que diariamente, né? E para dar um gás aqui, para me sentir motivado, eu peço que vocês aí deem um like aí, se inscrevam no canal aí, compartilhem para esses vídeos serem vistos por mais pessoas aí da nossa área, beleza? Até o próximo vídeo.